In the final plot of Black Myth, Wukong, there's a huge twist. It turns out that son Wukong wasn't killed by Erlang God, but instead conspired with him to execute a plan. Even though Wukong was granted the title of Victorious Fighting Buddha, the golden band was still on his head. This plan was the only way for Wukong to free himself from the control of Celestial Court. As Erlang God said,
"I can't kill that monkey. No one can. Except himself. But at last, I see. This is the only way." He had no choice. And neither did I.
As I delved deeper into the plot of the game and pieced together the clues within the game, I discovered that Erlang was helping Wukong to remove the golden band. The two admired each other deeply, and all the conspiracies that took place before were dissolved in the final moment.
The win is his. My brothers tested you at my behest, all for this day. And only now do I understand that fight. No prestige can shackle him. No band can keep him caged. A mortal death for an unbound mind and will. May you not fail him. I'm now at peace. Your journey, though, has just begun.
This final speech from Erlang God to the Destined One carries a lot of weight. Why did he say that Wukong won? Why did he send his brothers to test the Destined One? What does the phrase, "I'm now in peace and your journey though has just begun," really mean? To understand this, we must start from Erlang's origin story. Erlang's true name is Yan Jian. His mother was the sister of the Jade Emperor and was punished by being imprisoned under Mei Mountain for falling in love with the mortal Yan Tianyou, Yan Jian's father. After Yan Jian grew up, gained his powers, and received the axe he wields in the game from his Shifu, he split the mountain to save his mother. The sound of the mountain collapsing alerted the heavens. Upon hearing this, the Jade Emperor was enraged. He summoned 10 suns and scorched Yan Jian's mother to death. Seeing his mother breathe her last, Yan Jian was filled with unbearable sorrow and hatred. He directed his fury at the heavens, shouting to the Emperor,
"We cannot coexist under the same sky. I will now storm the heavenly palace and crush the Lingxiao Hall to avenge my mother."
At this moment, countless heavenly gods attacked Yang Jian. As his life hung by a thread, a deity with the edict of the ancestor of Taoism, Yuanshi Tianzun, saved him. Some of you may not be familiar with Taoism. In fact, Taoism originated in China during the 2nd century AD. It is a religion that emphasized to achieve immortality. Now, returning to the story, after this event, Erlang secluded himself in the Ziyun cave for cultivation and soon opened his third eye. After over 100 years of Taoist practice, Yang Jian participated in the Great Divine War known as the War of the Gods, which is another story told in the Chinese classic novel, The Investiture of the Gods. During this war, Yang Jian earned great merit. However, during the final phase, when the deities were being enshrined, he rejected the opportunity to become a god, declaring that he did not wish to ascend to the heavens. Jiang Ziya, the disciple of Yuanshi Tianzun, was shocked that someone would refuse such an offer of immortality. Could it be that Yang Jian intended to defy even the order of the Celestial Court? Yang Jian's actions were driven by his deep hatred for the Jade Emperor, a grudge that he would not relinquish. After saying this, he turned to leave. Jiang Ziya stopped him and suggested that if Yang Jian did not want to ascend to heaven, he could go to the temple at Guanzhangkou and guard it as a minor deity. Yang Jian paused and then agreed. After settling in Guanzhangkou, Yang Jian, to pass the time, led the 6 brothers of Mei Mountain across the 9 realms to slay monsters and Yaoguai. Who are these 6 brothers of Mei Mountain? Several of them are bosses we face in the game, including the white-clad noble, the yellow-robed squire, the green-caped martialist, the venom Taoist, and others. Their victories were countless, and Yang Jian's fame skyrocketed. One day, an emissary from Celestial Court arrived with an edict stating that a monkey guai was wreaking havoc on Mount Huaguo and had disrupted the Celestial Peach Festival. Despite deploying 100,000 Celestial soldiers and 18 Celestial formations, Celestial Court could not subdue the monkey. Yang Jian was ordered to assist. Upon hearing this, the 6 brothers of Mei Mountain asked Yang Jian why he had agreed to help Celestial Court. Yang Jian laughed and said that the demons and Yaoguai they had subdued before were just too weak, not enough to establish a name for themselves. But this monkey, whom even 100,000 soldiers could not defeat, had made Celestial Court tremble in fear. If they were to subdue it, the 3 realms would forever see them in a different light. When Yang Jian arrived at Mount Huaguo, he fought alone against the Monkey King, Sun Wukong, for 300 rounds, but neither could gain the upper hand. Though Yang Jian could counter Wukong's various transformations, he still couldn't capture him. In order to subdue Wukong, the gods began to think of countermeasures. Laozi used his diamond ring to sneak attack Wukong during his battle with Yang Jian. Wukong stumbled, and Yang Jian's howling dog, along with the 6 brothers of Mei Mountain, pounced on him. They pinned Wukong down and pierced his collarbone with hooks, preventing him from transforming. As Yang Jian looked up at the sky, he could hear the gods in the clouds laughing triumphantly. He was filled with anger. Despite being a hero throughout his life, he hadn't expected that his crowning battle would end with such dishonorable trickery. Looking down at the bound Wukong, Yang Jian scoffed at Celestial Court's despicable tactics. After that, Wukong was tied to a demon-subduing pillar, and no blade or axe could harm him. Laozi then suggested placing Wukong in his alchemy furnace for 49 days to turn him to ash. Time flew by, and after 49 days it was the day Laozi was to open his furnace. Yang Jian calculated that today was the day Laozi would open the furnace and prepared to honor Wukong. At the moment, the sky suddenly blazed red, and the winds and sands stirred furiously. It turned out that Wukong not only survived, but had developed the discerning eyes of fire and golden, becoming even more powerful. Yang Jian looked up at the sky, secretly delighted. He seemed to see the fierce battle from afar, the gods' terrified expressions, and the Monkey King's golden staff, feeling a sense of relief. The 6 brothers of Mei Mountain, seeing Yang Jian's silence while gazing at the sky, wondered why he was not taking action. Yang Jian did not answer but muttered to himself, "I could have done it too." Later, the Western Buddha Tathagata was invited to deal with Wukong. Wukong lost a bet with the Tathagata and was imprisoned under the Wuxing Mountain. Yang Jian realized then that Wukong had not learned his lesson. He had forgotten that deities were not trustworthy, and the Buddha was no exception. Wukong, imprisoned under the mountain, cursed loudly, shaking the heavens and earth. At this moment, Yang Jian envied the monkey, wishing he could curse the Celestial Court with all his might. From Yang Jian's story, we see his deep hatred for the Celestial Court. However, out of helplessness, he could not openly defy the Celestial Court like Wukong did. Wukong did what Yang Jian had always wanted to do, which is the root of Yang Jian's envy toward him. Understanding Yang Jian's feelings towards Celestial Court and Wukong helps us comprehend the plot of the game. After the Monkey King completed his journey and was enshrined as the victorious fighting Buddha, Avalokiteshvara removed the golden band from his head. Freed from past restraints, Wukong should have been able to live freely. But in reality, the golden band was never truly removed. To remove the golden band and perform a grand act for Celestial Court, Wukong, together with Erlang, staged a play. Wukong used Erlang's help to self-destruct, transforming himself into 6 relics. By severing his physical body from the golden band's control, Erlang distributed the relics to various Yaoguai kings, keeping the most important relic hidden in his 3rd eye. The celestial soldier boasted, "I was at the front of the formation and saw it clearly. When they dismembered his body, even the Sacred Divinity took a piece." Before he could finish, a spearhead pierced through his chest, emitting a golden light that even dispersed the soul within his armor. The celestial soldier looked over his fallen fellow's shoulder, shocked. Before he could react, the golden light flashed again. That's how Erlang dealt with the soldiers who spotted him, had secretly hoarded Wukong's relic. Wukong and Erlang bet that one day a fated person would collect all 6 relics and resurrect Wukong. Only then would Wukong be truly free, without the golden band and fully liberated. To help achieve this goal, Erlang sent his 6 brothers to set obstacles in the path of the Destined One. For example, the white-clad noble was one of them. Just like the noble said, "I come at my brother's command. There are no schemes." In addition to the white-clad noble, many of Yang Jian's other brothers were sent to test the Destined One, such as the green-caped martialist, and we can find some details in his journal. Next to the watermelon field stood a strange man wearing a bamboo hat, watching the young monk pick watermelons. My brother said that if there's a chance, I can test the monkey on his behalf. If I don't test him myself, I won't be at ease to tell my brother about him, he said. The young monk responded, "Instead of feeling unease about him, I worry more about your brother. That thing tests the bearer's heart greatly. He has borne it alone for many years. Let's hope he doesn't fail at the last moment." In these journal details, it is revealed that the young monk is actually Maitreya. He mentions the difficulty of holding Wukong's relics, noting that all the Yaoguai kings who possess them experience various negative effects. Besides that, there were also the yellow-robed squire, pale-axe stalwart, venom Taoist, and others, all sent by Yang Jian to test the Destined One. Their purpose was to ensure that the person inheriting Wukong's will was strong enough. Yang Jian himself, as the final keeper of the last relics, hid them in his third eye to personally guard it for Wukong. Although Yang Jian assisted Wukong in executing the plan, he always had one doubt. Would a Destined One really come, as Wukong envisioned? Wukong was so unique. Yang Jian had once wanted to cause chaos in Celestial Court to avenge his mother, but was instead overshadowed by Wukong, who did what Yang Jian had always wanted. In the end, Yang Jian realized that the freedom-loving spirit of Wukong could not be destroyed or confined. He was ultimately not as good as Wukong. Thus, Yang Jian entrusted the relic and his own weapon to the Destined One to help him complete the resurrection of Wukong. Seeing this, you should be able to fully understand the meaning behind Yang Jian's final words to the Destined One.
The win is his. My brothers tested you at my behest, all for this day. And only now do I understand that fight. No prestige can shackle him. No band can keep him caged. A mortal death for an unbound mind and will. May you not fail him. I am now at peace. Your journey, though, has just begun.